Dennis Schroeder is a decent NBA player, but when he plays for his national team, he is completely transformed into a true superstar. He is a total menace, and the success of the German national team during this World Cup depends totally on his performance. But how is a role player from the best league in the world able to increase his performance in international competitions in a way that not even NBA stars are able to translate? In a way, it's because Dennis is one of those players who are capable of running an offense. That kind of player that with the ball in his hands can be the main creative reference of an entire team. Probably his level as a first reference is not enough to establish a winning team in the NBA, as he proved in his last season with the Atlanta Hawks, in which the franchise gave him the keys and he averaged 19.4 points and 6.2 assists per game. But he's certainly good enough to run an offense at the FIBA level. Because how many players are capable of being the first offensive reference of a winning team in the NBA? 10? Maybe 15? No, Dennis is not in that group of the world's elite. But given the opportunity against lesser opponents, he is capable of just about anything. Schroeder is capable of surpassing his best NBA career numbers in absolutely every FIBA tournament he has played in as a pro. His career averages in the US are 14 points and 5 assists per game, and his career averages for Germany at the senior level are 21 points and 6.5 assists per game. Dennis increases his productivity in a scenario where he plays fewer minutes and at a much slower pace, which is completely illogical. After Dirk Nowitzki's retirement, the German national team was having a hard time competing in FIBA tournaments, partly because beyond the legendary Dallas Mavericks power forward and Dennis himself, the team has not had the best supporting cast. But the truth is that at least the team has been able to base its game on the skills of Schroeder, who is a point guard who doesn't mind taking responsibility. In Eurobasket 2017, already without Dirk, Germany achieved a spectacular 6th place with an Imperial Dennis, who scored 24 points and 6 assists per game in the 7 games he played. And in the 2022 Eurobasket, when the German team already had the Wagner brothers, the national team won an incredible bronze medal. In that tournament, Dennis averaged 22 points and 7 assists per game. So no, it is no exaggeration to say that Schroeder's performance is the main key to Germany's performance. But what are the qualities that make Dennis such a decisive player in FIBA? Dennis is not exactly a great shooter. In fact, his career mark of 33% is well below league average. However, his combination of speed, intelligence, and ability to play pick and roll make him a lethal player. Schroeder produces most of his scoring with the direct screen, and he's so dominant in those types of situations that in many of them, the big man screen defender has to jump into the flash to cover his threat. And this is where his enormous basketball IQ comes in. In 2-on-1 situations, Dennis has a tremendous facility for getting the ball to the big man. And if he's covered by help side defense, he has plenty of vision to find the pass that throws the defense off balance. But Schroeder wouldn't be a player who provokes so many 2-on-1 situations if he didn't have an arsenal in his bat. And it is precisely his speed coupled with his leaping ability that allows him to score most of his points on drives to the hoop. When he penetrates, he is also able to create a shot from mid-range very easily. And the fact that he has this dual threat is what drives his defenders crazy. But it is not only on the offensive end that Dennis makes the difference. In fact, his role in the NBA does not allow him to have so much time with the ball in his hands. So the player needs other virtues to be an important piece in a team like the Los Angeles Lakers. On defense, Schroeder uses his speed to stick to his opponents when they don't have the ball, and also when they do. His small size allows him to keep his balance thanks to his low center of gravity, and he is able to recover the space he loses when he presses the ball insistently. But his greatest virtue, without a doubt, is his ability to get over screens and defend without the ball. And that's the reason why he was so important in the series against the Golden State Warriors, defending for a lot of minutes none other than Stephen Curry. But beyond his extraordinary skills, there's something even more striking about his play with Germany, and that is his attitude. In FIBA tournaments, Schroeder has the confidence to think he's the best player on the court. And that confidence is precisely what allows him to reach the next level with his national team, a player who is not afraid of anyone and who plays with the swagger of the best players in the world. That mental aspect is one of the most valued attributes a basketball player can have, and the lack of it can cause a player with enormous talent to not be able to translate his skills into production on stages as big as a World Cup. And no, that's not a saying. It is a fact that occurs with assiduity in championships like this one. Take Brandon Ingram, for example. The small forward of the New Orleans Pelicans was called to be the first offensive reference of Team USA after going to the World Cup after a regular season in which he averaged 24.7 points per game, with incredible percentages that bordered on those of the prestigious 50-40-90 club. However, he has not been able to translate this performance into a different kind of basketball. Certainly, the differences in rules and play style that FIBA tournaments represent for many North American players may have been a factor, but the most determining factor has undoubtedly been his lack of hunger and mentality. In Schroeder's case, this attitude can be easily demonstrated. What he did to Dillon Brooks, a player who could be considered a defensive specialist in the NBA, and who has just signed a contract worth more than $80 million, simply has no name. In the last preparatory game between Germany and Canada, Dennis took it personally with the now Houston Rockets player on all levels. But their history went back a long way, as the Los Angeles Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies, the team where Brooks played until this summer, have engaged in high-tension duels over the past 2 seasons. But Schroeder's ability to go out of his way to humiliate Dillon is a clear demonstration of this killer instinct and of the mental superiority that is intrinsic to the German's game. Dennis is still 29 years old, and being a point guard, it is to be expected that his level of play is going to be maintained for at least the next 5 years. However, the good news for him is that the German national team is bringing out a tremendous amount of talent year after year. Since Dirk's retirement with the national team, Germany has not been able to put together a competitive roster for FIBA competitions. However, players like the Wagner brothers are elevating the national team to one of the top performers in all of Europe, especially in the case of Franz, who just had a spectacular sophomore season in the NBA with an average of 19 points per game, and who is still 21 years old, so he has a great international career ahead of him. Many people were betting on Germany as the revelation team of the World Cup, and the truth is that the performance so far has been almost perfect. The German team has achieved 3 wins in the 3 games they have played, against big rivals such as Japan, Lauri Markkanen's Finland, and an Australian team that is one of the medal contenders at the end of the tournament. So Schroeder is at it again. He's bringing back the best version of himself in a FIBA tournament to compete against any team. A totally versatile point guard, and every time he has the ball, he is one of the most lethal threats in the entire tournament. But he has reached a point where this superhero performance no longer surprises anyone, because his consistency is so overwhelming that these performances are really what is expected of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis the Menace.